Hi, Marco here, and welcome to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Um, we're continuing from the last time that we've stopped. We're about to be introduced to the witness of the crime, or witness found at the scene of the crime at least. It will be introduced by Ouch or Ouch. Ah, this is it then. Hmm. I think I may have worked out what the professor had in mind. The professor? You mean Dr. Mikotoba? Yes, clearly. You're the defense lawyer today, not me. But that doesn't mean, well, I can still act as your assistant. Ah, of course. When he was speaking with me before, he simply said, Kazuma Asugi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. Well, that's a technicality, but yes, I think he'll be our assistant so that he will help us defend ourselves. He really has been sticking his oar in, hasn't he? Maybe, but any help you can give me would be greatly appreciated, Kazuma. Well, my first piece of advice is rein that rein in that crazy look of bewilderment and control the cold sweats. Only if you rein in that crazy headband and control the cold stares first. Yeah, I guess why is this headband always flowing? Um, it's windy inside, I guess. Hmm. Well, we saw him in the cutscene, I think. Witness, state your name and occupation for the court, please. Of course, my name is Satoru Hosonaga. So, Satoru Hosonaga. I am the head waiter at the Western style restaurant called the Carnival. Oh, oh god, blood. Are you alright? You seem to be coughing up some, It's a regular occurrence. It really doesn't bother me. Well, it really should. As everyone knows, the capital's southeastern quarter was developed for foreign visitors some years ago. It's become a very fashionable district now, full of hotels to accommodate overseas guests. This grim crime occurred in one of the district's so-called restaurants, an Occidental eatery, 3 days ago. Understood. Osanaga-san, you will kindly tell the court everything you can about the incident. At once, sir. And no petty interjections from the aspiring lawyer boy, please. Oh, perspiring maybe, but aspiring? It was just after 2 p.m. on the day of the in question. We have few diners at that time of the day. The lunchtime rush was over, and there were only 3 tables still occupied. That fits in with my memory of it, too. There are hardly anyone else in that place. It was when I was in the kitchen, putting away crockery and cutlery. A gunshot rang out, so I hurried out to the dining area to see what had happened. I found the victim, an English gentleman, slumped in his chair. And standing immediately beside him, gun in hand, was the accused university student.
Yes!
Well, did I answer yes? Hold on. Let me just clarify something here. While I did pick up a gun that I found lying on the floor beside the professor, I didn't shoot him.
Objection!
I believe I asked you to refrain from petty interjections. The court wishes to listen to the witness's report of what he saw, you amateur. But the next time you interrupt to an inappropriate time, you will be penalized, Defendant Naruhodo. Don't worry, Rinosuke. You have your chance to fight back. For now, we must just quietly listen to the witness. If I may confirm one point, waiter. Standing beside the victim with a gun in his hand was the same man we see here in the court today. Yes, without question. I see. And apart from the accused, was there anyone else standing beside the victim? No. There was no one else around the table but the deceased Englishman and the university student. Huh? Wait, what did you just say? There was no one else around the table. What's the matter, Inosuke? That's just not right. When I went over to Dr. Wilson to say hello. Oh, who's that lady? There was a woman sitting opposite him at his table. Really? And that's not something the waiter could have missed. Music's picking up again. I've been warned about interjecting, but still, what should I do? Yeah, let's interject and present the current, or it's his, witness, what he witnessed, just so the court is very aware.
Yes!
Just a moment, please. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone that day. I'm sure of it. There was a lady sitting with him at the same table.
Objection!
Dear me. What are we going to do with you? With your blatant disregard for court proceedings, I'm beginning to wonder if you're not a fraud. Could it be that the accused, this beer student, is not a real lawyer after all? But I'm sure of what I saw. Osanaga-san, is there any chance you've mistaken? Perhaps your memory of events is hazy? No. The deceased gentleman came to dine alone. I don't believe it. Ahem. I actually have a rough plan of the restaurant as it was that day. Please have a look if you'd like to. Well, that's a rough sketch. Let me see. Ah, a sketch of the establishment's layout drawn by yourself, I presume? That's right. I'm afraid I used the back of my business card. It was a turbulent situation. However, as you can see, the gentleman in question was seated alone. Very well, you're clearly a very conscientious waiter. Sorry. Thank you, sir. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Oh, well, is there any problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course. Here you are. That's a suspicious, behavior. Yeah, Kazuma also noticed. What was that about? He's been completely calm and collected until now. Oh god, he's coughing really bad. Something certainly seems to have shaken him. The waiter's business card has been entered into the court record. Oh, sorry, I forgot to read the description. So, the court has now heard the apresses of a case. Yes, at the moment that the gunshot was heard in the restaurant, the only person in close proximity to the victim was the defendant on trial today. It would seem we are looking at a black and white case here. Defendant Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency? If you admit your guilt at this stage, the court is willing to look mercifully upon you. In other words, you may have some small reprieve in terms of your inevitable punishment. I call this waiter as an unsworn witness in order to explain the details of the case to the court. But I must warn the defense, if you are determined to pursue matters further in this trial, the prosecution has decisive evidence from sworn witnesses who were present at the scene of the crime, so there are more than one witness. What do you think I should do, Kazuma? What do you mean? Well, I'm going to be found guilty one way or another, it seems. Wouldn't it be sensible to plead guilty at this stage and hope for a more lenient sentence? Is there? Everyone keeps telling me that this trial is unusual, about these peculiarities. You've said it. Professor Mikotoba said it, and so has the judge and the prosecution. I'm scared of what lies ahead if I push this. As I said from the outset, I believe you're innocent. I trust you. And yet, despite knowing that, you're willing now to throw the trust back in my face? Is that it? What? If the accused is in fact innocent, then a defense lawyer is duty-bound. Prove that innocence by whatever means necessary. Are you just going to abandon that duty? Are you going to give up on yourself? The battle hasn't even begun yet, Irinosuke. Ooh, that slam. The defense pleads not guilty, Your Excellency. We invite the prosecution to stop making empty threats and bring out its witnesses. Then we'll see just how decisive this evidence really is. Ooh, blah, 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 blah. Indeed. Prosecutor Ouchi, please continue with proceedings. Well, you were warned. The young can be so reckless. You know, many call me a saint, but I can be a devil when I want to be. Ugh. In a few short moments from now, that dumbstruck young mouth of yours will be silenced forever. The prosecution calls its next witnesses. Very well, officer. Bring forth the witnesses at once. There's two of them. Witnesses, kindly state your names and occupations for the court. Yes, sir. The Great Nippon Imperial Army Sergeant Yasunosa, reporting for duty, sir. Myself, I find employ as a purveyor of fine articles of antiquity from the efflorescence of our nation, Nippon, and conduct my trade from Rasute, a humble premises in the 2nd District. Curio correcta. Curio correcta at your service. Sounds like curious collector. An antique dealer and a soldier. What unusual pairing. Both of these gentlemen were present at the restaurant on that day in question. Let me check court records again to refresh our minds. University color pin, we saw that. Post-mortem, we saw that. Photograph of victim. A photographic print that shows the victim. He was shot from the front in the chest and subsequently died. There's a magnifying glass. Interesting. Okay. Waiter's business card. The head waiter's business card. A sketch of the restaurant's layout is on the back. So this is kitchen on the left, entrance on the bottom left. I guess the X marks the victim's position or place or the scene of the crime. Okay. How about the people? Saw Satoru Hosanaga, the head waiter of the European-style restaurant La Carnival. He was serving there on the day of the incident. Yasunosa, an army sergeant of the Empire of Japan who witnessed the incident. Curio Korekota, the owner of Rasute, an antique shop situated on the street corner in the 2nd District. He is a witness to the incident. Okay. They must be the diners of the other table that the waiter mentioned. Myself, I habitually take the tea of the most exquisite aroma of the establishment in question, always post-noon, and not infrequently converse with interested parties regarding the curios, with which I make my business. I can't understand a word that old man is saying. I can't even pronounce some of the words. He's an antique dealer, and it sounds like he's a regular at La Carnival. He seeks out potential customers who may have an interest in antiques and tries to sell his wares to them. He obviously targets La Carnival because it's a high-class restaurant with rich clientele. Right, I see. Although, to be honest, that sergeant looks more like he'd be a seller than a buyer. Now, you both witnessed the precise moment of this most atrocious incident. Is that correct? Affirmative. The enemy unit was seen attacking the foreigner in what can only be described as an act of war, sir. It was a black uniformed rogue infantryman over there who unloaded his firearms, sir. This man's as impossible to understand as the other. But I'm almost sure I heard the strange noise during that last thing he said. So this is the decisive evidence the prosecution was threatening. The soldier is claiming that he actually saw the precise moment he shot the victim dead. Yes. Well, are you starting to feel uncomfortable? If I'm honest, I was feeling uncomfortable from the start. Now the court will hear your formal testimony, please. You will state everything you saw at the precise moment that the incident occurred. Sir, yes sir. Standing by ready to report, sir. Is that a baby sound? Unsavory memories of a most acerbic afternoon. Dual testimonies. Testimonies. I was ingesting a regulation beef steak at the restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man. Myself, I was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman. At that precise moment, a firearm was discharged. I observed the enemy's actions with my own eyes. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little whistle. I was on my hands and knees investigating the whereabouts of my mysteriously absconded precious curio. Okay. Well, so you, Sergeant Nosa, actually witnessed the vital moment. You saw the split second when the defendant fired a weapon at the victim. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. That wicked university cadet, sir. The cruel and unforgivable enemy. What times we live in when an English gentleman may be assailed in the broad light of the day. But this is ridiculous. I didn't shoot anyone. Is that really true, Rinosuke? Yes. All I did was pick up the gun and I saw lying on the floor. After I'd said hello to Dr. Wilson, I went back to my table and sat drinking some coffee. Then when I'd finished, I got up from my seat to leave the restaurant. I noticed an English made gun next to the chair where the professor was sitting. Wait, he didn't hear the gunshot? I thought perhaps the professor had dropped it. So I bent down, and just as I was picking it up... Oh. The gunshot happened after Rinosuke picked up the gun. Well, if that's the truth, there was obviously a criminal on the scene somewhere. And somewhere in these two witnesses' testimonies, there is a clue as to who that criminal was. There is? Rinosuke, you must exercise your right to cross-examine the witnesses. Cross-examine? Do it now. As we have heard, Your Excellency, there is no room for doubt in the testimony of these witnesses. The defendant is clearly guilty. It's time to bring the despicable student to justice. Certainly, testimony of the court just heard eliminates any vestige of doubt. Therefore, it is my grave duty to declare the verdict of this. He raises his hand again. What in the name of the Emperor is the meaning of this outburst? The defense demands its right to cross-examination. Dear me, dear me. Let me guess. The Hachimaki head boy next door told me to do it. How pathetic. Huh. How did he know? The prosecution objects. This is a clear waste of time. The defendant obviously has no experience. How can he possibly carry out a cross-examination?
Objection!
The defense is asserting its right to a cross-examination. Whether or not you think he's capable of it is irrelevant. Kazuma is so commanding. Very well. Let the defense conduct a cross-examination of the witnesses. Alright, this is where the battle really begins, Renosuke. But I don't even know what I have to do in a cross-examination. Isn't it obvious? You have to expose the lies in the witnesses' statements. How? You didn't fire the gun, which means that the soldier said there has to be a lie. Well, yes, but it's just a case of proving it. And the key to doing is evidence. Right, evidence. All you need to do is present some decisive and indisputable evidence that proves the witness is lying. It's a lot of slamming. Now let's go, Rinosuke. Don't let them meet you. What a wimpy. uh, Alright then. It's all or nothing. Okay, so this is the first time we're doing an actual gameplay mechanic. What the witness saw. I was ingesting a regulation beefsteak at the restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man. So we're inspecting or looking at the witnesses' statements. And our goal is to point out conflicts to the facts, or blatant lies, or some inaccurate information, so that we can forward in the game. Myself, I was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine golden curio to the military general. I think the first two statements are not that suspicious, or there's no point in going through them. So this is just stating that he's eating and talking with the old man, and this as well, he's talking with the military surgeon. At the precise moment a firearm was discharged, I observed the enemy's action with my own eyes. So this is where we are going to examine his statements. He said that he saw us fire that firearm, and he observed that our actions were observed by his eyes. So nice. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little whistle. I was on my hands and knees investigating the whereabouts of my mysteriously absconded precious curio. I think this statement, actually the last part, and from the back, the cowardly little whistle, let's present, because according to the photographic evidence, or the post-mortem report, actually it is more accurate. It says that the victim was shot to the chest, and the bullet did not pass through the victim's body. So this says to us that the victim was shot in front, not on the back. So we can present this evidence.
Yes!
Okay. Oh, he's sweaty. What are you playing at, cadet? What is the meaning of this subordination? Thrusting this wad of papers in my mustache. Inconsistency, sir. I mean, yes. There is a clear inconsistency there. What nonsense. What can this document possibly tell us that we don't already know? Well, obviously, that, I know what I want to say, but the words just won't come out of my mouth. I think this proves beyond any doubt, Your Excellency, that there is no place for an amateur student here in this grand courtroom. This is so frustrating. Thanks, Kazuma. Oh, please. Surely this doesn't require an explanation. It couldn't be more plain. To spell it out would be an insult to the court. Wow. You really turned that situation around. Kazuma, what? What are you talking about? It's apparent from the single glance at the post-mortem report presented by the defense that there's a clear discrepancy here with the sergeant's statement. What? Sergeant Iesanosa. Oh, his name, Iesanosa, is a reference to yes sir, no sir. Iesanosa. Okay. Yes sir, what sir? The statement you just made was this. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. I witnessed a crime with my own military-grade eyes, sir.
Yes!
But no, that just can't be. And why not, cadet? Because, and I'm glancing towards Kazuma. As is clearly stated in the post-mortem report, fatal hemorrhage from pectoral ballistics trauma. No exit wound bullet did not pass through the body. The photographic print of the victim clearly shows the same thing. The victim, Dr. Wilson, died from a bullet wound to the chest. Ah! Sergeant, according to your witness statement, the culprit shot the victim from behind. And that is the obvious discrepancy here. Well, how do you explain it? Oh god, there's a baby on his back. That's why there's a crying sound. Yeah. Oh, what was that? Something just popped up from behind his back, but he pushed it down again. Certainly, there's a clear discrepancy with the facts here. Would you not agree, Sergeant Nosa? Yes, sir. At this juncture, that would appear to be indisputable. Until the moment I heard the firearm discharge, my eyes were... oh, what a cute baby. Firmly fixed on the delicious La Carnival steak, sir. What? The last testimony, the court has proven one thing, beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness, Sergeant Iesanosa, did not see the defendant firing a gun at all. That's absurd. I think the conclusion we must draw is simple. There is no place for an amateur prosecutor here in this grand courtroom. Yeah! Who awarded inconsistencies here? There's been a complete turnabout in the mood of this trial, just from that one discrepancy. So this is what being an ace attorney is all about. But I definitely saw him. That university cadet there, he was pointing the firearm directly at the victim's back.
Yes!
Okay, but I never fired the gun. All I did was pick it up off the floor. Hmm. And you, old man, you didn't see the moment the victim was shot either? Correcta? Myself, I have already been quite clear. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor. Too busy on the floor. Sorry, what were you doing? Hunting for treasure. Treasure? Oh, God. Indeed, the Toei era Koban. My prized coin. On each occasion when I visit that restaurant, it is my habitude to place in my bosom pocket a particular trinket of interest from my shop. Rasate, in the hope of meeting a richer diner who might like to buy it from you. On the day under scrutiny, it was to the military man that I offered my Hoei treasure. I believed that he would purchase such a rare find. I did not. But I was presented with little alternative. And then, after averting my eyes from the briefest of moments, was there no more? It simply vanished. The Koban vanished? Hunting around under the table I was, in case mayhap it had fallen there. And then it happened. You heard the gunshot, you mean? Indeed I did. But I heeded it not, for I was concerned only with finding my absconded Hoei treasure. Nothing could distract me. Nothing. Out of interest, did you find the coin in the end? No. I see. That lamentable day, the precious Hoei Koban was lost to me. No doubt some unscrupulous scoundrel pocketed the prize coin for himself. As I'm sure everyone present is aware, this case demands a swift and decisive resolution. Our government has promised to send a full report to Great Britain by telegraph this very afternoon. Wow, one-day trial. Nevertheless, the witness testimony the court had just heard was inconclusive. No matter how subservient our government feels it must be to the British. It would be unforgivable to deliver a verdict on this trial right now. What is your position, Prosecutor Ouchie? Worry not, Your Excellency. The defendant may have fled a tiger at the front gate, but he will find a wolf at the back. My witnesses have further testimony to make. Explain? Upon hearing their next statements, it will become abundantly clear. There is only one person who could possibly have committed this despicable crime. The equally despicable defendant, Renosuke Naruhodo. He really seems to have a despicable opinion of you, doesn't he? Very well. The court invites the witnesses to testify again. You will thoroughly explain the reasoning behind the prosecution's allegation. Is that clear? As clear as Kiriko glass, Your Excellency. Yes, sir. At once, sir. Awaiting signal to testify, sir. Excuse me, but there's someone peeking out over your shoulder, I think. Affirmative. The US member of the Nosa family to rise up through the ranks, sir. Name Aido. It would seem those straps are a sign of the sergeant being too strapped to afford the nanny. Aido. Tension. Tension? Your father is about to call the enemy. Watch and learn, my boy. Oh, he's blowing the fan or the windmill type of thought. Witness testimony. The true culprit. Okay, that's it for this episode. We will go through the second line of testimonies next time. So far, we have proven that the culprit or us did not shot the victim from the back. We've proven an inconsistent testimony from Sergeant Nosa, and we're about to go to the other line of testimonies. So until then, thank you everyone for watching this episode, and see you next time. Bye.